A group of badass bunnies.
Chatting it up, y'all.
So be prepared for explicit language
and triggering topics.
Talk bunny to me.
3, 2, 1, yes!
Welcome back to another episode of the Bunny Pen.
Welcome.
Welcome back to another episode of the Bunny Pen.
Welcome.
Yay!
We are still in disbelief that we are doing this, so thanks to everyone who has listened and shared this with friends. Thanks for coming back. Today we're going to talk about dating red flags.
Yes.
Raise the flagpole.
Right. Wait.
What are you looking for?
Oh, well, you see, I'm just looking for...
Oh, that was loud in me.
First time using the soundbite, don't judge.
We're learning.
Yes!
Yes! Because we all know we've all experienced them. Unless you married your first boyfriend ever.
Yeah. Which, kudos to you.
Yeah. My aunt and
Takes
uncle
a lot of
did
work.
that. You know
Yeah.
a few friends, my aunt and uncle.
That's cute. Yeah, my parents... Well, no. My mom was engaged like 3 or 4 times.
Oh yeah, they're high school sweethearts and still little artist lovers together today.
That's cute.
Yeah.
It's the passion, baby.
Yeah, or just laziness. I think that's what I have when it comes to dating. Not saying they were lazy, but just projecting my own things. And also, with that being said about red flags, as we both say, we're both growing and we're trying to be aware, so we're not trying to act like neither one of us have red flags either.
Oh, yeah. I've got red flags. I'm bad at picking up red flags. I've gone into ships that were burning already.
Ahoy, matey, as it sinks into the water. You're like the last one.
I'm like, well, I'll jump on.
Wait, you guys are going somewhere?
Fantastic. I want to come too.
Free ride? Okay.
Straight to hell.
I like the water. I could swim.
Yeah. Fucking ridiculous.
The water will put the fire out, right? Okay. So yeah, we both know we have them too, but it's also just a part of dating, and red flags are different for everyone.
Yes, they are.
I know I'm quick to like fucking chop down the flagpole. I'm real quick to get out, tap out. Like I'm like a 3 strikes girl, you're done. Not saying that's the way to go either, but I'm opposite of most of my friends where I'm good.
I'm done.
This seems like a pattern, and it's a pattern I don't necessarily want to put up with, so
Yes.
let's go our separate ways before we get in even deeper.
Let us.
Also, though, before that, we want to touch on some current events that happened since our female friendship podcast and kind of go hand in hand with that.
Yes. Let's talk about the badass bitches.
Woo woo.
So 17 congresswomen stood their ground with the people and got arrested over fighting for women's rights.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. We love to see it. I know I was super impressed, and so was Steph. And we both got chills when we seen this, and we definitely were talking to each other about it.
I think I instantly sent it to you.
Yes. It just made us so proud to be women and also so proud of them.
Yes.
Yeah.
I can't imagine, like, the courage it took, like, such a male-dominated industry and has been for so long. And, like, when was the last time there was a precedent set to have, like, that much stand your ground courage and, like, I'm going to sacrifice something that may seem like a big deal to me, but this is a bigger deal that it's worth it for women out there everywhere, and I'm taking the role I signed up for and, like, representing my people very seriously, and I'm going to put myself out there. We all are. We're going to band together, and we're going to do this together and really show women that they're not alone, even though all of us feel alone out there when we read things like that, or, like, you know, impending doom, or however you want to word it.
Yes, definitely. I couldn't agree more.
So, like, kudos to you, ladies.
Kudos to you.
Let's see more of it.
Bad, bad, bad.
Yeah. And then the other thing we saw, which is, like, maybe seems
The
opposite,
cutest.
but it's not, was this video on social media. I hope you guys saw it, where a girl's just like in the bathroom with the selfie video.
Yeah.
And clearly she's at a bar and it's like full of girls and lots of women are in stalls. You can't see them. You can really just see her face, and she just asked out loud to the bathroom, should I text him?
And a resounding no.
Everyone's like, no, no, no. So I thought that was really cute and like also very representative of a girl tribe.
Adorable, dude.
We may not know you, but in the bathroom bar, everyone is everyone's friend. We all know that. We've all experienced it plenty of times.
Yes.
And girls gotta have girls' backs.
Yes. Well, you know, they say that the best advice is to get drunk in a girl's bathroom at a nightclub. I've definitely read memes about it, and I couldn't agree more. It's hysterical.
Yeah.
And it you can't help but get warm and fuzzy when you see, you know, that interaction instead of it being like girl on girl crime.
Yeah. We got you, girl. We'll
Yes.
lift you up.
Yes.
If you have to ask, don't do it.
Seriously. And I've also, I don't know if you've noticed, but since like the whole entire, I don't know, the world's been very, very going towards, you know, women's rights, and with all the Roe v. Wade and everything that's been happening recently, I've noticed when I go to the bathroom, there's a lot more inspiring quotes on the wall with women,
Oh.
which I think is super cute, and it's like my favorite thing to look at now, because I'll look over and it'll be like, oh, you're a bad bitch, oh, put your head up, girl, and they're like super cute verse. I remember when I was growing up and you'd go in there and it'd be like, oh, Tammy's a slut, she fucked my boyfriend.
Yeah.
It was very aggressive.
Yes. And just like trashy.
Yeah, I mean, and it doesn't,
Not that I care, but and
No.
now it's much more, yeah.
it's like way more empowering, and any day that you feel like it's not actually going towards a positive thing, or like we're not actually making changes, just little things like that I look at and I'm like, we are
Yeah.
maybe in micros and milliseconds, and
But it
you know,
all adds
slowly
up.
but surely, yeah, but it all adds up, and we're making waves.
Little secret messages out there.
Yeah,
Let's keep each other lifted.
exactly. We'd love to see it, and it gives me such hope for, you know, future generations,
Because they're probably the ones writing it, the younger people.
honestly.
Change the narrative.
A lot of people talk a lot of shit, but I love me some millennials, dude. At least they say shit with their chest.
Yeah. And Gen Z.
Uh-huh. Oh, yeah, and Gen Z. I think I often confuse the two.
Well, I mean, they kind of mesh together right now. I feel
Mhm.
like the younger and older of the two
Mm-hmm.
overlap a little bit.
Definitely.
Kind of like a trickle
Yes.
where they mesh.
So I guess let's jump right into the red flags.
Let's dive in. Let's do it.
My first one that I want to talk about is early attachments. And this is like somebody who, you know, especially in a world where it's like online dating, you notice that like you match with somebody and they start talking to you and they're like, how's your day going? And then they get upset about you not texting them
Oh,
back.
yeah.
I'm like, okay, you're deleted. Goodbye. Don't have to meet you, don't have to talk to you.
Yeah. Oh, God. I owe you nothing at this point.
Right, I'm
Thank
like,
you.
what? This shit's crazy.
If you're already going to get your feelings hurt over this, then doomsday.
Especially me, I fucking forget my phone exists most of the time. So if you are the kind of person where you're easily upset with me not answering back in a couple hours, like, I'm not the one.
Right, and with Cori and my schedule and work, like, we can't promise you we're going to see that.
No, I'm asleep
And even
during
if we
normal
see
people
it,
hours.
it might be 4 hours before I have time to, like, come up with a thoughtful thing to type back to a stranger.
Seriously, dude.
Stranger danger.
Right. Plus, I feel like early attachments, like, it's very often that how do you actually know if you like somebody if you're moving so fast? And it's very confusing of whether you're codependent, whether it's love bombing, like, that all just gets very blurred. So, especially more now than ever, I'm like, slow as the wind blows. Like, I cannot, we cannot move fast, dude. I've got too many hang-ups.
Yeah, I've never been that type of person, but I know, you know, I see lots of friends besides Cori who kind of like, in my definition, rush into relationships.
Fall fast.
Because I'm
Not
on
now, though.
I'm on the opposite spectrum, which isn't better. I'm trying to come to the middle a little bit as well. But for me, it's just like, how do you know if you really like someone when you don't give each other space?
Right.
Like, I've always been curious, like, when you make it a habit, then where is the passion?
Right.
Like, if it's just like, oh yeah, we're hanging out, because that's what people do when they like each other, like, nonstop. But if you don't give yourself, like, any space, then I always wondered, how do you know if you really like that person? Like, people just seem to like spending time with people, and they don't always necessarily clarify, do I like spending time with this person because I like them, or do I like spending time with this person because I want to spend time with a person?
Yeah, definitely. Plus, I feel like there's a lot of beauty in like getting back to yourself, because I can get very caught up, and I know previously, which is another one of my red flags, I would be the kind of person where I get into the situation and I just want to do things for you. And then if I don't spend time apart from you, it's very hard for me to be like, okay, Cori, you are an entire entity on your own. You need to make sure you're okay. You need to make sure, you're good to be able to continue giving good in this situation. So,
right. You have to protect your personal well-being to really be there for someone else.
Yes. And I feel like spending time by yourself is the only way you could really do that. Otherwise, you're just so caught up in somebody else's energy.
Which is also a two-way street. Like, if they're super want to hang out with you all the time, then it's like, those are the questions for them too, right? Mm-hmm. Like, well, why do you want to see me all the time?
And what are jealousy?
And what are you doing for yourself?
Yes.
To maintain and like preserve yourself identity.
Yeah. Because I feel like that also, it like truly masks a lot of times, like when people are jealous, they want to occupy all your time so they know where you are, and it's like that controlling thing.
That's true too, yeah.
Yeah, it could be a lot of red flags wrapped into one little fancy package.
Right, it could be many different layers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Cori and I recently like talked about how some men are like down low controlling, and so if they're not doing that at the beginning, that could be another sign that, that's caught up in there.
Yeah, 3 months in, you're going to be hell on earth. Did you just go check the mail? Where the fuck do you think you're going?
Who's sending you mail?
Listen, right, God.
Did you buy that? Let me see your receipts.
Seriously, shit gets weird out here. Yeah. And speaking of 3 months in and people unveiling things, a huge thing that I've realized, especially now more with the times, is people wait like an abnormal amount of time before they're telling their political views. And it's like a huge, if you are a Republican that's so far over and you're on the times that you're like, fuck people and the white supremacy stuff, I feel like it's all just a rabbit hole.
Oh yeah, ones that tend to lean conservative, but like those real closet ones, like my last two ex-boyfriends, I mean, I am 35, so I have quite a few. They definitely had that closet shit going on. I noticed it, I would say probably around 6 months in with one of them. And then it was like I said something about women, and I don't remember any of the details, but it was memorable that he made some remark that I was like, I'm sorry, what is your opinion on that?
Mm-hmm.
And then, like, you expect me to want to maybe raise daughters with you?
Right.
Or in the words of my New Jersey housewife, daughters?
Daughters?
I have 4 daughters.
Daughters. We got daughters over here.
And then those kinds of things came up a couple more times. He told me that they were going to charge me more for my tires because I was a woman.
Yeah, it's always...
But also made no efforts to offer to help me. If you really believed that and you really cared about me, then maybe you would at least be like, why don't I go with you when you get tires? Even though I would have said no, but like none of it made sense.
Right. It's always like the smallest, weirdest comments that leave you being like, did you say that because it's just off of a women you're joking, or are you a person who secretly hates women?
Yeah. So there were other red flags with him, and broke up with him in Hawaii. We could have a whole episode about my breakups. I've got some good ones.
Couch time with Steph.
Doozies on the other end. I came out on top. Yeah, and then the last one was also like definitely trying to play into how like I don't really call myself liberal, but I guess like more progressive and modern I am. And yeah, there was a lot of underlying shit that I was like, this ain't gonna work.
Right.
You're trying to control me and you're not even paying my bills, motherfucker.
Boom.
Like, if you want to offer to pay my bills, then we can maybe talk.
Right.
I mean, I'm still going to say no, but that's like, but if you're not doing
At least
that,
you have stake in the game.
yeah, but like, you ain't doing anything to help me out right now. We're equal partners, so you have no rights over me.
Right. And it all becomes very interesting because I know I don't hide my feelings from the beginning. So I feel like I get sidewinded from it because I'm like, well, you know I definitely don't think that way, so why are we here?
Right. I've been the same person the whole time, so I expect everyone else to be the same person the whole time. Like, yeah, of course you're going to be at the very, very beginning a little more like, ooh.
Right.
But you're not, I'm not ever lying
I'm not
about
talking
who
6
I am.
months in.
Yes, and it's only for like the first few dates
Yeah.
where I try to be.
Yeah. And I don't really like politics. I think politics are a division tactic, so I have a hard time labeling myself liberal or conservative. I just think that you should be a good person, and, you know, judging by some far extremists' feelings, that's what I have to go off of, and I tend to find that that's like far rights are, you
Right,
know.
and what it boils down to is just like equal human rights for all.
Yeah, I just want people to be treated well and for people to treat people well.
Yeah, and not to feel like they have a stake in someone else's life.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Or ownership to somebody else's
Yeah, that's
life,
what I
like,
mean,
Yeah, definitely. And I had it happen one time where it was like, it was a pretty long time. It was maybe 7 months of knowing somebody, and they turned around and they dropped like random things that I was like, wait, hold the phone. Like, we really have to talk about this. Like, I'm at the point where I'm not even going to let my brain think about things in the what ifs. I'm straight just going to ask you because I need to know in the moment. And I've read the room wrong a bunch of times. So now I'm like, communication's key. And I hit them with a, wow, I think you're a little bit more conservative than I am. And they were like, no shit, Sherlock. What made you think that? And I'm like, wait, what?
Well, what was supposed
How
to
did we
make me
get
think
here?
that when you were
hiding your beliefs, and then turned around and was like, you know, I think women look for attention and all these things for breastfeeding and stuff. And I'm like, okay.
and that kind of ties it into like gaslighting, like him being like, well, of course I am. Like, well, how am I supposed to know that?
Right.
And don't try to make this about me all of a sudden.
Only you can say your feelings. I don't know what you feel or.
Yeah. Contrary to popular
believe.
belief, I can't read your mind.
I'd love to, but I can't.
Yeah.
I actually don't know if I'd want that, but
No.
it's a different topic.
Maybe if you could turn it on and off.
Exactly.
But still, I don't know.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if I want anyone to read my mind.
No. Another red flag is putting in more energy than the other people.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, one-sided relationships are really exhausting, and they're exhausting from the beginning until the very fucking end.
Yeah, I haven't really. I would say again with those, like those show up a few months into the relationships I've had.
Yeah.
Which again is annoying. Be who you are from the beginning, people.
Right. And it's not like I'm perfect. I'm not holding you on like this
No.
ridiculous stance. But I mean, there's certain things that, like, if you feel that way, just say it. It's okay. We may not be each other's cup of tea, and that's fine.
Right. Well, and just be who you are, like, because no one needs this change up all of a sudden, like. And if you are changing who you are only a few months in, and not like that you've changed who you are, but you're changing who you are presenting yourself as to me, then how much more is in there? That's
Right.
what I think. Like,
Right.
then I'm like, well, who knows what's going to come out of the woodworks? Is every day a freaking Easter egg hunt? Like,
Right.
what's in this egg? I don't know. You surprised me yet again.
For real. That's hysterical.
Also, like, with, that, like, I've had come up, like, a little bit in, like, people that are weird about finances.
I was going to say something about finances. I agree. Finances can be a very interesting thing. And I don't know what the right answer is now, whether it's like, because I'm down for a dude to pay everything, but I'm also the kind of person where I'm down to split things, especially on first dates or like new dates. Like, I don't want you to be paying for everything and then us move in together and you think that I'm now your mom and I gotta wash your dirty underwear
Right.
and take out the trash, cook dinner all the time. So I'm very confused anymore on what the right thing is to do. So I'm kind of like, in the beginning, I'm like, let's split it, because neither one of us even know if we like each other.
Right.
So like, why are you paying for my thing? I'm not gonna sleep with you because you're paying for my stuff. Like, I don't know if I like you. You don't know if you like me. I'm also not trying to do all of your chores later.
Yeah, and then it's like, there's no easy way to say no to someone buying you. Then you're automatically a bitch too, so it's a lose-lose situation. So anyways, like, that back to a relationship, that's why, of course, we're like, no, 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 I'll split this shit, because...
Right, it's just a slippery slope.
And then, other financial things I've had that I, like, then took into red flags combined with other things, and was like, nope. But... when they get weird about how you're spending your own money,
oh yeah,
that's not your business. If you want it to be your business, you can ask me questions.
right.
Like,
Right.
do you even know how much money I make? Do you know what bills I even have? Like, you don't know what I'm paying and what I'm not paying because you've never taken the time to ask me, but now you want to judge me for how I'm doing it. And sometimes I think that's insecurity. Like,
Well, not only that, but there's a whole blanket of like a thing called financial abuse,
yeah,
which is huge, and it happens on, you know, both ends of the spectrum. But it becomes a thing where someone feels like they're going to get you in a position to where now you need them and now they can control you because you don't make the same money. So I feel like that just becomes a red flag of like, is this going to come down to like you being the breadwinner in the relationship, man or woman, and you're now going to hold it over my head and like make little digs at me like I don't make as much, or we can't do something because I don't have the money for it, or try to control me financially. And that's not really, that's, you know, that's never good for anybody.
right. Like, I'm not questioning you on the hobbies you're spending money on. So, like...
Right. Not only that, but I'm a hustler. If I want it, I'm going to get it.
Right. And you're very delusional if you think we're at that point.
Right. Right.
And if you want to get to that point, then there's a lot of other serious shit we need to do. Oh, that was a good one, yeah. Give me a fucking break, people.
Yes.
I wish I could just have that on record and then say that in relationships. Give me a fucking break and just walk away. Like,
Yeah.
do you really want to start this battle right now? Like, do you
Listen.
really want to start this conversation?
We just came up with an invention. We used to have those talk backs. You remember that thing that you used to, like Home Alone? He talked in it and it gave the voice back.
Oh.
Now we can just make talk backs that are, instead of you saying something and repeating it back, you could put in your own catchphrases and you just walk up. It's like the in-person emoji. You just give them your blanket, whatever you want to say, and walk off.
Now is not the time.
It's the 2020 version of drop the mic.
Yes. I don't think you want to go down that road, sir.
No.
But yeah, I've definitely dealt with a lot of, like, they don't realize it, but insecurity.
Yes.
And those come out as random red flags. They're not always, like, in your face.
Yes. And I know for a long time this was my biggest red flag. Because I spent a good chunk of time insecure and double thinking about it, and I haven't had the best example of relationships in my life, so I've always been very scared of relationships. So I definitely know that I have been to other people a red flag of insecurity.
How do you think that came out from you?
Definitely, mine was very codependent energy. Like, I had no bad intentions in it, and I think that that's why it took me so long to even realize it, because I was never going into the situation like, I want to control you, or with a malicious intent, but I definitely was like, okay, I am scared of losing you, so now I'm codependent, and now this is all happening because I'm insecure, and it's, making you want to run away from me.
With, like, I'm, for the most part, I'm whatever, human and not always the same, but I'm pretty, like, confident and I'm pretty independent, and that comes across from me, like, 24/7 for the most part, I would say. Like, I'm exuding that energy, and so I found that, like, that's what really attracts men to me in the first place sometimes. Like, they're like, oh, I really like that, probably because they're ex, right? Like, we all tend to do, like, the rubber band effect, like, whatever just didn't work for you, you want the opposite of that. So maybe, like, who they've dated right up to me needed a lot of attention or that kind of stuff. And
Well, the men like to chase things.
yeah, it could be that too.
That's just like nature of them. They like to chase things. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
I hate to say the prey, but it's almost like the animalistic, like, you're running and I want to accomplish that. I don't know.
Yeah. So, well, and I think too at the beginning it's like, oh great, they don't want to rush into things, like, she does a lot of things on her own time, she's not trying to see me every day. But then once the relationship, like, deepens and it becomes like an actual relationship, and then the more serious it gets, like, when I want to watch football on Sundays and you can join or not, like, but then they get mad, and I'm like, okay, like, I set this tone from the beginning. I've been very open about it, and there's lots of other examples, but that's just a really easy one, like, and then so they just seem to, like, do a 180 flip on me, like, the things they liked about me at the beginning, then they choose that that's what they didn't like about me, and so I have learned over many relationships that starts to come out as insecurities in the middle, and I think it's like projection, right? I don't know how to explain it. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, I think projection is because most of the time projections come off of insecurities, so I feel like that definitely lines up.
So yeah, they'll start like blaming me for things, and I'm like, oh, okay, but that's not how that happened at all.
Right, and it always sucks because usually the communication isn't up to the best, so you're being met with like somebody just creating an issue with you, even though it's not about what they're creating it over, and you're like, what are we even fucking doing?
Yeah.
And I know that I'm guilty of doing this.
Yeah.
I've definitely done it in certain situations where I'm like, oh, that's fine, and then afterwards I'm like, nothing about that was fine, and I'm not okay.
Yeah, they'll like hold something in for like 2 weeks and then spew it at me, but like put it in another form, but then bring that up like, oh, I'm actually mad at you about what happened today, but another example of it was 2 weeks ago, and I'm like, okay, well, that wasn't how that happened at all to me.
Slash, were you
in
gonna
my
let
mind.
me know in the moment?
Right. So we need to communicate about those things in live time.
Well, yeah, it's just like rubbing a dog's face and pee, 10 hours afterwards. They're not gonna remember.
Yeah.
So neither one of you actually accurately can depict what even happened in that moment, because now all you remember is your emotions.
Yeah.
So now you're like, who knows what really happened? If we could have just had a camera on our wall, but now we're gonna fight off of just my emotions and your emotions and never get anywhere.
Yeah.
Communication and, being comfortable with yourself is huge.
Yeah, I also...
But it's hard to do.
Another, like, I mean, this isn't insecurity, but it is, like, how they... in my like experience, how they take things and then project them onto you. So like a lot of times I feel like it's been about my schedule, and they'll be like,
I have a hard time with my schedule,
like, because we work in healthcare, so whether it's 410s or 312s, yeah, but we also usually have at least 3 days off a week, instead of 2, which is the traditional work week.
I don't know how you guys do it. I don't know how you do that.
Oh yeah, I can't work 5
I don't know how you do
days.
it. No.
But like then they'll like, you'll get snotty things about like what you are doing on your extra day off.
Oh yeah.
And like that has happened so many times, and I can't stand that one. It's like, well, if you want to work for 12 hours on your feet every day and then get back to me.
Right, that day really doesn't count. That extra day off doesn't count. You're like sleeping or doing nothing.
Yeah, and I can't run errands on my lunch break or before I go to work and just come in a few minutes later, or come in early and leave a little early so I can swing by somewhere before they close at 5. Like, that's not plausible for us at all.
Well, I mean, it's 12-hour days, so it's your whole day.
Yeah.
I mean, there's only 24, and 8 of them you're sleeping, so that doesn't...
And I think maybe, too, I just realized this, like, maybe they're worried about what you're doing in that time.
I was going to say, because honestly, I've definitely realized that when I'm at work, I'm forgetful, so I've forgotten that I'm on call. And I've shown up, and there have been institutions that I've worked at that they write things on the dry erase board, so... I've come in, gone straight to my room, not paid attention. 4 hours into my shift, I go back and realize I'm the person on call that night. And then I've been in this situation where I've texted my partner and I'm like, hey, I'm on call tonight. Sorry, I didn't realize, blah, 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 blah. And that created an entire can of worms because it made me look untrustworthy. They were questioning me about what I'm doing. Was I making it up? Am I really on call? I mean, there was one instance that I was on a helipad while we were getting a trauma of a gunshot victim, and I literally was on the FaceTime with the person I was dating like, really? I'm about to blow my head off because my day just got so terrible and I'm out here justifying myself on a helipad.
Yeah. So, disclaimer for call, what that means is if usually like staying late after work, or you're like on call overnight for
A certain amount of hours that they can call you and come
emergency
in.
surgery situations.
Yes.
That also made me think of back to like the financial thing and all of that. But one time I was on call, and so I would have been at work in theory till probably like 1 a.m. I'm sure you can guess where this was at. Finishing
Oh, yeah.
cases, and then
Didn't even have to finish.
the patient coded, and because of that I got home early at like 7. And
Which coding is not a good thing. That usually means that there's somebody's fighting for their life.
Yeah.
Also precursor.
so we like aborted the procedure. I texted my boyfriend, who I was also living with at the time, like, hey, update, I will be home like sort of on time, because the patient's not doing well, and so blah blah blah. Okay, so I get home, haven't even taken my shoes off yet, which those of us who work in healthcare know, like, that means you're just like in the zone, like you're just regathering yourself, you're tired, like
Your adrenaline's coming down.
yeah. And I'm standing in the kitchen just like mindlessly shoving food in my mouth, like trying to process the day, and I proceed to get asked why I ran the dishwasher when it wasn't full. I won't bore you with the back and forths, but it did involve, I was like, well, I did that because I was working 3 12s in a row, and I knew you wouldn't do the dishes, and that would really upset me, and I was trying to not be a bitch this week, but apparently you want to bring her out. And I said, so I ran it on Sunday, and he was like, no, you didn't, it was wet when I opened it, it was Tuesday. I was like, yeah, that's how a seal works, and you didn't even open the dishwasher till today. So there proves my case.
Well, not only that, but I don't even know why any of this. Why are you clocking my fucking
See this? Yeah. And let's just say it ended with me giving him dollar
We obviously
bills.
don't get along if you're like trying to start fights with me over a dishwasher, dude. Let's just cut this here.
I said
Because
so.
we don't like each other.
Yeah, here's probably the $2 that it cost us, maybe,
Right.
to run this dishwasher.
That's adorable.
That's worth my sanity and clearly worth a fight for you.
Not only that, but if you're gonna hit me with that information, at least make me feel bad. Be like, the whales are fucking sad because you're using the water.
He had no.
Be cute with me.
No, he had nothing.
Just kidding. You don't have to sugarcoat everything with me. I can handle you telling me straight up. But, I mean, to fight over a dishwasher is funny.
Yeah.
But listen, I've had my interesting things. So.
Oh yeah, I'm sure we can go on for days about those.
Yes.
Alright, so let's talk more about, like, I mean, those are all applicable too, but, like, superficial, like, right out of the beginning, red flags.
Snapchat.
Or as I like to call it, snatch chat, which is why it's a red flag.
Yes. Yes.
Especially, I feel like, depending on your age. Like, the age of the person.
Yes.
I mean, I
Who you
have
sending
it.
your dick to?
I have it, but
I don't have it.
I get why it is men. I've dated guys that it is a red flag for them and guys that it isn't a red flag for them.
Oh, yeah.
But
And my red flag is not because of anything more than the only times I've ever created a Snapchat, literally within like no time people get alerted that you're on Snapchat or they see you're on Snapchat. And then like I've gotten dick pics like instantly. I'm like, oh, welcome to Snapchat, cool, there's 3 random dudes from high school that you haven't talked to in 15 years that want you to see their dick. And then I'm like, you do know I have other social media platforms. I know you're married with 3 children. Why the fuck are you sending me your dick? Like,
yeah.
It's just weird. So I've just been like, I don't want Snapchat because I'm not trying to see your penis. I don't want my person to have Snapchat because I'm assuming you're sending people your penis. Like,
Yes.
it's all just penis mail.
Especially when they have their, like, location enabled, where you can see them on the little map. I'm like, that's either because you...
Not only that, but it's so sketchy.
Yeah, like, you probably do have a girlfriend that needs to see where you're at all times. Like, this is a way of them to track you, like, part of your agreement or whatever. Like, if you're gonna have Snapchat, then I need to see you on my little map.
Right.
I don't know, like, it just is weird to me, or... I don't know, that's just not a good sign.
No, it's just interesting. Snapchat is off the front. No. Hiding your kids. if you have children and we go out and like it's, 2 weeks into us texting on a frequent basis and we've gone out on a couple dates and then magically like you post a picture of your kid online and that's how I find out, I'm like, why is that how this is being discussed? And I don't want to, I have a lot of respect for people who don't necessarily show pictures or want you to be in their life. Like, I respect that. I don't need to be in it. I'm not trying to be stepmom in the very beginning, but definitely say it with your chest. Like, these are your kids. You should be...
Yeah, it should just be out there. Like, I do have children. I don't know if that's a hard no for you.
Right. And I'm assuming a lot of the fear with hiding that is because people have this... I don't have kids, so I'm assuming, and I've heard it from my friends who are single parents who have children, that they're scared to say something about it because they feel like that comes off as a red flag. But I'm not like that, and I don't think that people should be like that either. So.
Well, and here's the thing: if
I am like that, you're gonna know very early. You know what I mean? Like if you tell me you have a kid, and I turn around and I go, "Well, I can't date you because you have kids," then we've just done each other a favor.
Right. Well, and kind of like we were talking about before, like hiding your like. Well, then what's the plan?
Right, like,
so say I start dating you not thinking you have children and then all of a sudden there is a child, like, that's just, like, how are you going to navigate those waters in general? Mm-hmm. That just shows me you have no forethought, or you already don't have, like, there's lots of things, right? Like, you're hiding it, you have no forethought to what will actually happen when I find out, or you have a secret life, or you think I'm just going to be a fuck buddy and done. Which, that's fine too, but be honest about it.
Right, like, give me the right to make a decision.
Yeah. Also, my one friend and I would say massive red flag is if your name's Mike. Her and I have quite a few Mikes, Mikey, Michaels in our past, and, yeah, take it or leave it, but...
I've never dated a Mike.
Wouldn't recommend it.
That's actually interesting. I've never in my life. There's a lot of Mikes in my family, though.
To me, Mike is the Chad, I guess. How people are always like, Chad.
Yeah.
I'm like, Chad just sounds like Chode to me. I don't know why anyone would name their kid that. Sorry if you did.
It's a sound. Chad.
Onomatopoeia.
Yeah, that too.
That's what that is, right? Like,
I don't know. I'm just uneducated. I don't know.
Onomatopoeias are like the words that sound like themselves.
Oh, yes, that's...
I think that's what it is.
I actually, for so long that's been like mocked because it's such an interesting word that I don't know that I've ever known what it meant.
It's just fun to say it.
Onomatopoeia. Mm-hmm.
I could be totally wrong, but I think that's what that is.
Makes me think Finding Nemo.
Yeah, Chad.
There you go.
Also, my friend said this, like, if they turn their phone over, when they set it down, like, and you're around.
Yeah, especially today, because that's, like, the wildest guilty energy, because I know you can shut off notifications, so, like, you can control whether it even pops up, even if you are doing dirt, and the fact that you're that guilty that you're like, okay, I'll probably turn my notifications off so that, and I'm still gonna flip it over, I'm like, yo, this is just crazy talk.
How much are you hiding?
Yeah, like, what you doing?
I also think, like, we kind of touched on this earlier with, like, when they're, like, turn it around on you, but if there's zero accountability, like, get out of my face.
Oh, yeah. Definitely. I mean, because you could go on that circle forever.
Oh, yeah.
Just cycle after cycle of just nonsense.
Another one my friend said was the military is a red flag.
Yeah. It's unfortunate because I come from a family of everybody's in the military except for me. So I have a weird stance on this because, like, I respect it. I thank everybody for their service.
Absolutely.
Like, I understand there's different avenues that bring people into the military, but I definitely know that the military gives people certain things to deal with that people who haven't been exposed to the military don't have to deal with. So I feel like unless you're aware of that, it can become problematic in a relationship, unfortunately.
Yeah, and for me, it's kind of like the structure that they're used to.
My dad raised me like it was field day all the time, so I feel it.
Yeah, like, that's just probably not going to be compatible with my life. And again, these are, like, blanket stereotypes, right? Like,
right.
I also have family members who have served, friends. I'm very thankful, and this is not everyone, but it's just kind of one of those radar pings for me that's, like, it's not a total no or a swipe left or whatever you
Yeah,
want to
no.
say, but it's just like, okay, this could be an indication along with other things that maybe we're not going to be compatible.
Plus
or it could not be.
Yeah, and there's always the nerve-wracking thing of you having people in different area codes, dude. Like, military people travel around a lot. It's like, I had a friend who says it's on the par with pilots. Pilots are a red flag to her, which I
Pilots
think
are
is
definitely a red flag. I always think that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's, you know, people just move around. It's opportunity, right? Humans can be opportunists given the
Right,
I
and
don't wanna say
especially
opportunity, but
if there's someone who really, really, like, needs a lot of companionship and there's someone who travels a lot, like, it may not necessarily be intentional,
or
but
malicious, right? They just need somebody.
yeah, it's just inevitable that they're probably going to get their dick wet somewhere else eventually.
Yes, and that doesn't always leave for open communication. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like a lot of times those situations are presented to you like, hey, this is how this happens. If I end up hooking up with somebody, just know it doesn't, you know, affect our relationship, whatever. Because I know a lot of people who are into open relationships, who have,
Oh, yeah.
you know, polygamous relationships and stuff like that. But I feel like
I
a
think
lot
you
of
mean
that.
polyamory.
What did I say?
Polygamy.
That's why I was shortening it to poly, because I know that I fucking say the wrong thing all the time. That's great. But yes, poly relationships where there's multiple people.
Or it's more, yeah, like open and,
Yeah.
but my understanding in those is that it's communicated, like
Communication
you were
is key, yes.
Yes,
Because
like-
a lot of people can handle things if they know it from jump.
Yes.
And I think that is such a taboo topic with so many people, because there's been so many times where it hasn't been communicated and it's hurt people, so it's just left a bad taste.
Because that all just boils down to trust, and that's with anything, right? Like,
Mhm.
if you tell me something, even if I don't like it, it's way better. And that's not necessarily being...
I have something to absorb and to heal from, instead of me constantly feeling like there's something that I just, like an elephant in the room. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like, if you're not communicating it to me, for you to think I'm not going to sense it or feel it or know that something's up is kind of crazy. So,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? It just keeps people on this, I don't know why something feels off, and something does feel off when it could just be communicated. And now it's like, okay, I have this thing in front of me. It's either I can deal with it and we're going to move forward and I've got something to, you know,
Right.
go
And that
off
could
of,
be
or I
anything.
can't.
Like,
Yeah.
you know...
You got a
arre-
foot fetish.
Yeah, you got arrested or whatever. You forgot to pay a bill. Like,
Mm-hmm.
whatever.
Yeah.
Just, you know, be upfront and honest.
Yeah. For whatever reason, we tend to hide the sexual things, and I think that's a huge thing, because then, you know, eventually you're going to look outside because you're not being satisfied, because you're not communicating properly and letting your partner actually choose what they can and can't do for you.
Yeah, you're not giving them the choice.
Right.
All right, what else, Cori?
Um,
Anything?
I guess I would go for that. A red flag to me is being overly sexual in the beginning, especially if it's on a dating thing. If we're on a hookup culture and this is what this is, then okay, you know, that's what we're here for. Of course, that's what you're going to talk about. But like, if this is a dating thing and like this is our first date and we've both shown up to do something and we've communicated that we're looking for a relationship and the only thing we can talk about is sex, I'm kind of just like, there's so many problems we're going to come to in life that aren't sex related that this is almost irritating.
Well, and for me too, like if I see a profile like that, like it isn't, you know, you kind of have that choice. Well, do I just want someone to be friends with benefits? Like, am I looking for a beneficial situation? Because if so, that could be okay. But then for me, like, it just feels like too much pressure.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I need some natural chemistry, and that's just me. I get that's not everyone. So that's kind of, you know, why I'm more of an in-person dating type anyways over apps, but I still use apps because it's 2022. But, like...
I have a hard time with them.
Yeah, I struggle with them, but you kind of have to use them. But yeah, when I see that, or when someone starts texting me or messaging me that, like, early on in something, I don't like pressure. Like, I'm such a stubborn personality. I think it boils back down to that baseline. But it's like... if
You gonna work harder for this cookie.
Yeah, like, you can't just expect it. Like, it needs to be natural for me to enjoy it.
Well, yeah, because even if it's set up to be sex-based, and only sexual, like, you still gotta turn me on. And just straight being like, so are we gonna fuck is not gonna do it. At least not for me. I don't...
Right, might be for other people.
Everybody is different, what you're into. Some people enjoy that, and they like, you know, shooting it straight. And I even know some women who like dick pics. Yeah, where I don't necessarily like dick pics, so I slammed them earlier, but...
if I'm already established with you somehow.
Yeah.
Like, I think there's a time and a place for them. Unsolicited, never okay.
Yeah, unsolicited is just weird. But I do know, I have had conversations with women and individuals who are like, you know, I am purely sexual based, so it was unsolicited, but at least now I'm going to ignore you. Or I know what you're working with and I'm pumped about it, whatever it is. Like,
I totally forgot about this till just now. I knew this girl. I met her when I was doing travel nursing years ago, and she was a few years older than me. She had a box of printed out dick pics.
It's like Superbad with the lunchbox of dicks.
Yeah. And I was like, what?
Wow.
I kind of like, I really like that for you.
Right, I'm impressed. I'm impressed to say the least. That's really...
Yeah, she carried it around and was like, they're going to send them to me, I want them, and I'm going to print them off, and I'm going to have them in this little box here.
Oh my god.
I wonder what then she was dating someone serious last I knew. I haven't talked to her in years. So I wonder what happened to that box.
That's hysterical. All of it makes me paranoid. There's that documentary, Are You Up?
Oh, yeah.
Ooh. Ooh. I'm like, oh, okay. You can't even keep them in your phone, because a lot of those were hacked and put on there.
Yeah.
And, yeah, that's just...
I know, I do get nervous. I won't say I've never sent a pic, but
yeah, I'd be lying through my teeth.
I'm pretty choosy who I send them to, but that still could come back to bite me in the butt.
Mm-hmm. I've definitely sent them.
Who knows? Any final thoughts, Cori?
Yeah.
So check our Instagram story. We're always going to have questions on there, and feel free to DM us.
Yes.
Topics that you guys are interested in, and we do post questions to get your all's opinions and feedback and input.
Yes, and then eventually we'll be taking that to lives, which I'm excited about, so we can all actually like talk in real time, which will be fun.
Yeah. Thanks for listening to us as we're hitting the ground running and working through some kinks and errors.
Working through some kinks.
Sorry, today's the first time I'm a little nasally. Got a little summer cold, nothing like a classic summer cold.
Right, but we're showing up.
Yeah, we're doing the thing.
Yes.
So,
thanks, guys.
Yeah, come back next time.
Yeah.
Wanna hear you go.